What does true commitment actually look like? I mean, what happens when you're pushed, really pushed, to stand by your principles when, well, everything is on the line, your power, your family, everything?
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a really powerful story from ancient wisdom, based on a YouTube transcript that explores the human goal through the, frankly, unbelievable story of Raja Harishchandra. And our mission here isn't just to retell an old story, it's to extract the core wisdom, the deep insights about principles like Dharma, especially when things get tough. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding these profound ideas. Okay, so let's try and unpack this concept first. Dharma. We hear it a lot in talks about Indian philosophy. What does it really signify? What's the foundation here?
Right. Well, Dharma, as Maharishi Vyas explains it in the source, it's not just like a simple moral code. It's presented as the very foundation for achieving everything in human life, what's called purushartha. So that includes artha, which is material well-being, prosperity.
Kuma, which is desire, pleasure, and ultimately moksha, liberation. So Dharma is seen as the bedrock for all human effort.
Bedrock. Interesting.
Yeah, and the source really highlights this proverb, Dharma rakshati rakshita. It means Dharma protects those who protect it.
Dharma protects those who protect it.
Exactly. It suggests this sort of reciprocal thing,
Yeah.
like a guiding force that responds to your commitment.
That's a powerful idea. Protect Dharma and it protects you. But, for a lot of people, that might sound a bit abstract. How does that protection actually work, especially when you face something extreme like Harishchandra did? And I guess that's where his story comes in, right? This Raja Harishchandra, king of Ayodhya, disciple of Rishi Vashishta. This is where it gets really intense, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. His story is like the ultimate stress test for Dharma. Maharishi Vishwamitra decides to put Harishchandra's famous commitment to the test. And he doesn't just ask for something small. He demands basically everything. The kingdom, all property, all wealth.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And even his accumulated virtue, his punya,
Yeah.
the spiritual merit he's earned.
Wow. Even the punya. So, like, his good karma.
Exactly. The good karma, the merit from his righteous actions, the idea was to strip him bare, leave him with absolutely nothing.
And what's just mind-boggling, frankly, is how Harishchandra reacts. He just gives it all up immediately. No argument.
Instantly, unquestioningly, he surrenders the entire kingdom.
That level of immediate surrender, giving away a whole kingdom, it's almost hard to grasp. Is that just obedience, or is there something deeper going on there?
Well, it seems it's less about obedience in the sense of fear, and more about this profound commitment to his word, to truth, to the principle of honoring a request from a sage like Vishwamitra. Is his dharma in action, putting commitment above everything else.
Okay, so he gives up everything. Test over.
Not even close. That's when Vishwamitra hits him with the next demand. He asks for a dakshina, a ceremonial fee for the donation Harishchandra just made.
A fee for giving away his own kingdom.
Precisely. And it's a hefty one. The source mentions 1 month's royal revenue and 1,000 gold coins.
But he just gave everything away. He has nothing left. How is he supposed to pay that? It seems impossible.
Exactly. He's completely destitute, yet he owes this enormous debt. It feels like a trap, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. So what can he possibly do? This feels like the end of the line.
This is where the sacrifices become almost unthinkable. Harishchandra, to honor this debt, this commitment, he travels to Kashashi and makes the decision to sell himself.
Sell himself. As a slayer.
Essentially, yes. He puts himself up for sale in the market, and he's eventually bought by a Dam Sardar, the chief of the cremation grounds, for 400 gold coins. So Harishchandra, the former king, becomes a Dam, a worker handling cremations.
From king to cremation worker, that's an incredible fall.
A complete reversal of fortune and status, but the sacrifices, they don't stop there.
Oh no. What else?
His wife, Queen Shravya, she sees his plight and volunteers herself to be sold, to help raise the money.
The queen volunteers to be sold.
Yes, as a maid. And their young son insists he has to go with her. So the family is broken apart, sold into servitude, all to fulfill this promise, this dakshina.
It's just layer upon layer of loss. The kingdom, his freedom, now his wife and child. It's hard to fathom enduring that for a principal.
And then comes the most heart-wrenching test.
There's more.
Tragically, yes, their son dies. Queen Shravya, now a poor maid, brings his small body to the cremation ground where her husband works.
Oh, that's awful. So he's there at the cremation ground.
He is. And this is the absolute crucible. Harishchandra, bound by his duty, his dharma, as a worker for the Dam Sardar, his master. He demands a cremation tax from his own grieving wife.
Wait, he demands money from his wife to cremate their son. When she's a maid and has nothing.
He does. He refuses to perform the cremation without the fee owed to his master. It's brutal.
Right.
She has absolutely nothing left. So she offers the only thing she has, half of her simple clothing, as the tax.
But demanding that, in that moment, doesn't that feel like it goes against compassion? Against maybe even Dharma itself? How can that be right?
That's the really challenging part, isn't it? And it forces us to look at what duty means in this context.
Yeah.
He's not acting out of cruelty. The source frames it as him rigorously upholding his Swami and Sevak Dharma, the absolute duty of a servant, Sevak, to his master, Swami. His personal grief must have been unimaginable, but his commitment to the duty he accepted, even the duty of a cremation worker, overrides even that personal tragedy. It's this shocking display of absolute dedication to principle, however agonizing it looks from the outside.
So it's about the principle of fulfilling the duty you've taken on no matter what. Wow. Okay, so he's about to take half her sari as the fee. What happens? Does he go through with it?
Right at that moment, as he reaches to accept her clothing, Vishwamitra appears.
Ah, okay. The architect of the test.
Exactly. And Vishwamitra declares that Harishchandra has won, that he, Vishwamitra, is defeated. He acknowledges Harishchandra's unwavering victory in this ultimate test of Dharma. And importantly, he returns Harishchandra's tapaka bal, the power of his austerity, his spiritual strength, that he had seemingly given up through all the suffering. The test wasn't meant to destroy him, but to prove the unshakable nature of his adherence to Dharma.
So after all that pain, all that loss, the victory comes through just holding fast. It highlights that core message, doesn't it? His absolute refusal to compromise his principles, even when it cost him literally everything. But Kay, what does this incredibly extreme story mean for us today?
Well, the source connects it directly to this idea. Those who don't stand firm on an ideal, adarsh, fall for every temptation. And think about how Dharma protected him. It wasn't magic armor. It was his internal compass. By sticking to his principles, no matter how painful, he maintained his integrity, his inner core. That's what gave him the strength to endure. It wasn't about immediate external reward, but about staying true to himself, even in hell. And that's, I think, incredibly relevant for navigating all the pressures we face today to compromise.
Yeah, that makes sense. It brings us back to that definition you mentioned earlier. Dharma is that which holds us. The source even traces it to the root. Dhariti iti dharma. It's what sustains you, what upholds you. And it clearly upheld Harishchandra.
It certainly did. And it makes you think, doesn't it? How does that commitment to an ideal, your ideal, protect you from, external pressures, from just giving in when things get tough? Harishchandra faced the absolute limit and didn't bend. His story isn't just ancient history. It's a kind of a profound moral challenge. If you put yourself in his shoes, even for a second, what really stands out? What does his journey make you reconsider about integrity and sacrifice?
That's a deep question. And as you're mulling that over, thinking about Dharma as this sustaining force, the source leaves us with one more thread to pull on. It mentions Artha Purushartha, the pursuit of wealth, of material well-being, as another key pillar in Indian thought. It even brings up Emperor Chandragupta learning about it from the famous strategist Acharya Vishnugupta, or Chanakya. So the final thought for you to consider until our next deep dive is this. If Dharma is what holds us, what upholds our integrity, what's the deeper meaning of Artha, of wealth and prosperity? How does that fit in? How do we balance living by our principles with, living in the material world? Something to think about.